Hi guys, welcome to Metal and Rock Zone, and thanks for being here. If you're new, then what is this channel about? We do reviews of concerts and we post videos from concerts that we go to. In the future, we'll have more stuff. And I want to do today, I want to teach you how to go to a concert like a pro, how to get the most out of that experience. So follow and all that stuff. And we have social media also, Metal and Rocks on Instagram and on Twitter and TikTok. Where you can see videos like shorter videos from the gigs that we go to and stuff like that, and there'll be more and more content coming there. So we're only starting out, but so far people have been amazing. We get a lot of comments. I love that. I like answering them, and I like a lot of people have kind of brought me into some thoughts on ideas that I didn't have before I did the video, and it's great, you know, like for example on the Slipknot concert that I reviewed last week or 2 weeks ago or whatever. A lot of people contacted me or wrote me and commented about where they were standing, how the sound was and stuff like that. It was so cool. So I'm grateful for that, guys. Follow the channel, all that. And yeah, tell me when I'm right, when I'm wrong, and when I missed something. So how to go to gigs like a pro. I like gaming systems. When I was before, a businessman, I traveled sometimes up to 100 times a year, so I kind of knew all the tips and tricks around the airports and everything, where's the shortest queues, where to stand, how to get my baggage on board without anyone trying to grab it off me, blah, blah, blah. I feel like I've kind of done the same with gigs. I have built my own kind of rhythm of finding tickets, securing tickets, going to the gig, where to sit, all that stuff. That has made it a very, very easy thing for me. And when I talk to people, I know a lot of people that go to a lot of gigs, and when I talk to them, I'm actually surprised how little they know about how much easier you could make that with very little effort, let's say. So I thought, okay, I can try and maybe share this wisdom of mine that I have built. And then I have a little bit of some extra pro hacks or hacks that I have done, tiny tips in between that I'll tell you about. This year I'll see about 60 bands probably. I will go to 30 concerts and 2 festivals. So in the festivals, oh, actually it's more, yeah, like 35 concerts and 2 festivals where I will see like 10 to 15 bands each festival. So it's a lot of bands that I go through actually and see. And all of these here I have seen or will see. I've only actually Sepultura left to see this year. Really looking forward to that. I live here in the Czech Republic. We get a lot of concerts coming through. It's high number of rock and roll music versus population, I would say, but it's the neighborhood of Germany and so on. So we get bands coming through here that are on the way from Germany to Italy, etc., etc. So we're benefiting from the geographical location. I used to live in Copenhagen before, and there we didn't get that because it wasn't really on the route somehow. You know, Germany, Poland, etc. You know, hundreds of millions of people in a short distance. So yeah. First thing, how to know what is happening, you know, and there are a few ways to do that. I mean, maybe the best way is to follow the bands that you like on social media, whether it's Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, like their pages, etc. Because they're always going to be sure that they push out any tour notification immediately. And they're often even before the ticket sellers. They put out, and that happened now. I'm actually going to go and see a band called At the Gates. I've known for 5 days that they're coming here before the ticket sellers are ready with the gig. So the benefit of this can be that sometimes the bands do something specific. They offer a pre-sale for, you know, members of their fan club or something like that. So you might want to stick around and see that, you know, like you wanna know if there's anything like that. And often these clubs are free to join, you know, or very cheap to join. So if it's a big band that you're worried that it will be sold out, you might want to check that out. Another way to do this is to use Songkick.com. You'll see it up here. They are brilliant. You can monitor a location, genre, dates, whatever. You can follow bands, and they send you an email notification whenever anything is coming. The good thing about that, and the same with if you follow the bands, is that they will always have links to reputable sales points. So they're never going to link to someone who is faking or something like that. And I see a lot of that going on. There's a lot of fake pages that say, okay, yeah, Rage Against the Machine are touring this year, and they are we're selling tickets here, and I know they have it's a fake, so be careful with that. And also, yeah, if you don't go this route through the band's page or through Songkick or something like that, then just make sure, you know, if it's Ticketmaster, Live Nation, or any of those brands that you know, you can usually trust that. But if it has a weird ending, dot something weird, then stay away from it. If it's a page you have never bought from before, for example, I'm going to see Elton John next year in Germany, and I bought from a page that I'd never seen. I just Googled it. Is it safe? Is it blah blah blah? And they had some Trustpilot reviews, so you know, and they were fine. So that's the thing. Then put a reminder in your calendar if the announcement comes and the ticket sales start later. Then put a reminder in your calendar so that when it starts selling, especially if it's a big band, that you won't miss that. With Guns N' Roses here, when they announced, they also had like I checked it, okay, and there was a pre-sale for Live Nation club members. So I joined the Live Nations club, so I got 3 days in advance because I was worried that gig would be sold out. So I got my tickets way in advance before everybody else. I mean, most people don't even know that there is such a club. So check out all these things, you know, and usually the ticket seller will list this, you know, like general sale on this day, pre-sale because of whatever on this date. So yeah, when you buy the ticket, it's really good to kind of know the venue. And I mean, like for me, because I go to most of my concerts here in the city that I live in, I kind of learned all the venues. I know how they work. I know where to sit. I know where the best sound is in general. Yeah, so because they usually show a picture of the venue and you can pick the seats or standing or whatever you want based on that. So you wanna kind of know that so you don't have to kind of, I don't know, randomly get something. And that's why it's important to be early, because then you can have a lot of stuff to pick from. There's one thing on that, is that it depends a lot on what you're after, whether you want to stand or whether you want to sit. I often prefer sitting because I more want to see the visual, especially if there is a show on the stage and stuff like that. For me, it's not super important always to be close to the band, and for me, the sound is not always the best when it comes to being very much in the front. It's actually often the quality goes down the further front you go. So, yeah, you should kind of decide what you're after. If you're after the action in the front, or if you kind of more want to just sit, relax, and enjoy. And if you sit, then sit low. From lowest to the middle or something like that, if it's a high or like a long, I don't know what you call it, like, yeah, a lot of seats. Because the lower you are, the fewer people are going to be standing up in front of you to go to the toilet. So that's one of my hacks, guys. And fewer people will be blocking you if you want to record something. So keep that in mind. If you're going to be on the floor, then and you want the sound, then be close to the mixing table. That's usually where the best sound is. And yeah, and that's another hack. If you're short and you want to be on the floor, then find where the cables come into the mixing table, because that's usually over like a curved thing that the cables are under. That's 4 or 5 extra centimeters there that you can see, so that boring, tall, bold guy in front of you doesn't block your view as much as he did before. Also, if there are separators between A and B zones, you can actually, often they have something on the floor that kind of holds them stable, and that can be like 2-3 centimeters elevation as well. So that's a hack for the shorties. So if you want to know, for example, so yeah, choose your location based on what it is that you're actually after. And if you want to know, I mean, what to expect, I'm one of those. I always check the set list. I know what they've been playing in previous gigs, and that can be very useful for many reasons. Some people don't like that. They want to be surprised. I like to know because I want to know, for example, if I want to record a specific song, or there's a specific song that I want to be ready for, you know, like I want to go crazy, hold my phone or whatever. So I would, and the pro hack on this one is take a screenshot of the set list. There is a page actually called setlist.fm, and there is an app as well. There you can search any band that is touring, and you can see what they played in the last few dates. it's let's say open source. I mean, it's filled in by people that attended the concert, so they file in what was played at each gig. So sometimes it's empty if somebody hasn't filled it in, but you can usually go 3, 4, 5 gigs back and you'll find something. Especially on the bigger bands, you will always find something. So that kind of tells you what is going to be played. You can see a lot of stats from their tour and stuff like that. Setlist.fm, it's a super useful site. I do a screenshot. I do that on my phone. I find the setlist. I screenshot it because often the phone system doesn't handle let's say the transmitters don't handle all the pressure that is from, let's say, 30,000 people, 20,000 people in one location. Everybody's streaming live or sending messages or whatever they're doing. So I don't want to depend on having to get into that app while I'm there. I want to have it, so I have it as a photo on my phone. So that's my pro hack. So yeah, another thing is you kind of want to know the timetable and so that you show up in time. And a thing that a lot of people don't know is that most gigs have a Facebook event. Whether it's organized by the organizer or somebody else, it doesn't really matter. But in the discussion part of that Facebook event, you usually can see the time program. You know, like, okay, doors at 6, first warm-up at 7, second warm-up at 8, main event at 9, finishes at X, blah, blah, blah. So, and often some other useful information can be there if there, I don't know, if there's some parts of the location that are blocked for traffic or parking or something like that. So you want to check this out, and because you don't want to be too early and you don't want to be too late. And it depends, of course, if you're standing, you definitely don't want to be too early because then you'll be standing too long. If you're sitting, it's different. If you want to buy some merchandising, you want to be a little bit earlier, and then yeah, you kind of want to. If you want to see the warm-up band, do that. They'll be happy to have you there, and you might find out some new music. I mean, this summer I found out, for example, that Europe, that warmed up for Whitesnake, are just fucking amazing, actually. And there were some gigs that Whitesnake couldn't perform, that actually Europe just did a longer show, and people were super happy with it. So check out that. We have a concert review on Europe and Whitesnake, and some videos from that. Yeah, and a pro hack on this one is if you can't find any of this, if they don't send an email with the timetable, you can't find it in a Facebook group, you can go to that webpage, setlist.fm, and you can see they have out there on the right something called tour stats or timings or set timings or something like that, where you can usually see, yeah, the Rolling Stones, they usually play, and this happened to me now, because there was no timetable for the Rolling Stones, so I thought, okay, I want to know, I don't want to, because it was far away, I don't want to go there too early, and I don't want to see the warm-up. It was some Swedish local band that I didn't know and I wasn't interested in, so don't tell them. And then, so I was like, okay, fuck, I need to find out. So I went into Setlist and I found out, okay, they usually play 2 hours and they always end at 11. So I calculated kind of backwards, okay, 11, 2 hours. Okay, they start at 9. So I want to be there like 8, and it worked. It was fine. I had time to go and buy a t-shirt, I had some water, etc., etc., and or my girlfriend had some water, because I'm gonna tell you a little bit about water later. The water mistake. So yeah, you can use that page. That's the pro hack on that one, and calculate backwards. Then think about the transport also. I try to take my motorbike whenever I can, and or public transport, because parking and getting out of the parking, especially if it's a bigger event, is usually like a nightmare. And it's often costly as well. With the motorbike, I can kind of park anywhere, bicycle the same. And yeah, let me see. What is more here? Yeah. So the preparation, kind of like for yourself, you know, wear good shoes if you're standing, and bring a poncho if you're outdoor, and kind of just, if it's outdoor, know what to expect. You know, don't let it surprise you. You know, if it's gonna rain, then, you know, yeah, I don't need to, you're grown-ups, I don't need to tell you how to do this. But check the weather forecast. That's a good thing to do, though. And yeah, let me see. Water, the big, that's water. That's my water gate. Don't drink too much, and I don't do that. I don't drink like an hour before or something. I just start drinking water. I don't drink sodas, I don't drink beer, because I don't want to miss anything because I'm going to the toilet. So I took my father to the World Cup final in 2006 in soccer, for those in America, football for those in Europe. It was in Germany, in Berlin. France against Italy, the biggest football match that we've been to. I mean, I've taken my dad and went with friends to a lot of football matches, but this was the biggest one we'd ever been to. My dad loves beer, so he had a lot of beer during the day, in the afternoon, in the stadium. There were 2 goals scored in this game. My dad missed both of them because he was peeing. You don't want to be like my dad. So I would, and I never got it. Why do people buy a ticket to a concert for, £50, $50, 50 euros or more, and then just get wasted and miss something, or be in the toilet when they play Paradise City or something? I would go crazy if that happened. So yeah, I would stay away from that. And you can always get drunk at home and watch YouTube, some of our videos or my reviews, and say what an idiot is this? What does she think he is? So yeah, I think we kind of got it. I mean, then yeah, enjoy the concert, of course. Know what you want out of it. If you want to be in the action, or if you want to just see, or if you want to record, and maybe a little pro hack on the recording. If it's a longer thing, then maybe bring like a charger for your phone. Just don't disturb your fellow fans, So if you're going to be recording a lot, make sure you're not necessarily, don't stand then in front of someone who's short. Try to go somewhere where you're not disturbing anyone if you need to do that, or have a seat or something like that. And if you, then yeah, how to get home. Often it's actually good just to stick around, stay there, absorb the atmosphere, kind of the aftershock. Let it sink in. I remember I did that once from after Pink Floyd. It was great. We just sat for half an hour, discussed the concert, and it kind of just really sank in somehow. You can grab a drink, chat to other people that were there, suck in the atmosphere. Sometimes there is merchandising being sold cheaper outside afterwards, etc. Because if it's some specific one made for that gig or something, so you might get lucky with that. And yeah, so, but if you need to get home and you're not driving, or not on a motorbike or a bicycle, and you need to use public transport, then here's one pro hack on that, which I often use. Walk to the station before your station, because in the station where your event is going to be crowded. So if you walk the opposite direction of where you want to go, you're usually going to, you will find an empty tram or a metro cart or a bus or whatever transportation it is that you're taking. And that can save you a lot of hassle. You will get a seat, you don't feel like jammed into some sort of a can, and that because that's not a nice experience. You've maybe been in a crowd for 2 hours in the gig and you're all sweaty and stuff, and then you have to stand for 30 minutes on a bus like this. You don't want to do that. So walk to the nearest station. You will thank me for that later. I think this is it, guys. As I said, follow the social media accounts, follow the channel here, Metal and Rock Zone, and yeah, please let me know if there's anything that comes to your mind that I'm completely missing. This works for me. This is what I do, and it's really kind of routine and works greatly. One thing though about the playlist, yeah, I forgot to mention that on the setlist.fm. You can actually export from that app into Spotify, so you have a playlist of the setlist from that band. So that's a brilliant thing, which I like. But there are people who just want to be surprised. They don't want to know what's being played and so on, and I get that. I mean, I'm just not one of those. I'm one of those who I need to know my whole fucking life in advance. So yeah, give me your tips, comment and all that stuff. Happy to hear from you. Have a great day. See you. Bye.